Black and white.
Hi.
Hi guys, we're back. We had a long...
I just realized what you were saying.
Yeah, black and
Matter
white.
if you're black or white.
That's right. I love that song. And the video that went with it, remember? Black or white, and it changed the Michael Jackson video. Okay, we digress. But we're back after a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of
Ups and
stuff going on.
downs. Yeah,
as you all know, it's called life,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
called
happens to the
life.
best of us.
It does. My son was in the hospital. As many of you probably know, he had some rare thing that caused him to bleed for no reason, and it was the craziest week last week.
Scary.
Yeah, it was scary.
Very scary.
Very scary. But
Yes.
but he's much
Hi,
better.
Lori.
Thank you. Hi, Lori. And I will tell you that this topic came up while my son was in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And
Always-
so I
always
really
good
wanted
for
to
material.
talk about it. Yeah, our lives give us a lot
Lots
of
of
material.
material.
Right? Okay, so let me see. How can I put this delicately? Okay, so my son was in the hospital, and as you know, if you've ever been in the hospital, there are a lot of people that take care of you. A lot of
Yes.
nurses, a lot of doctors,
Techs, yeah.
anesthesiologists, nurse
Shakira.
practitioners, staff in the hospital. There's
Yes.
a ton of people that my son came into contact with.
Right.
And first of all, thank you to all of those people who took such great care of
Amazing
him.
creatures, yes.
But some of the men in my son's life who were at the hospital with us over the period, so they kept teasing my son about the female nurses,
Staff, yes.
doctors, staff, anesthesiologists.
Right.
And every time they talked about the women that were taking care of my son, they were pretty or hot or look at the pretty anesthesiologist.
Yeah.
And this did not used to bother me,
Right.
but it bothered me.
Right.
It bothered me so much that I finally had to say something.
Yeah.
I said, can we stop with the sexualization of every woman that my son comes into contact with?
Wow.
Because that's basically what they were doing.
Sure.
And
How did that go? How'd that go for you?
well,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
they were a little dumbfounded, like, what? What are you talking about? I can't call someone pretty. I can't give someone a compliment.
Being nice.
Right. I said, when your only compliment is about how someone looks, it is a problem.
Right.
I said, these women are talented, they are kind, they are skilled, they are very good at what they do. Even the anesthesiologist who took my son under and brought him back to life, basically, was pretty. Not extremely talented,
Right. Extraordinarily
or
smart.
had a very hard job and did it with such
Humility and grace.
humility and grace.
Yes.
And she was so kind.
Right.
And it just bothered me that I had to say something.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a light bulb went off when I said to this person that it really bothered me that this was the only compliment. I said, I do not want my son to think that the only contribution a woman can have in this society is if she's
to look
beautiful
pretty.
or
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many other things, and we don't talk about men like that.
No.
You know, we don't. Never once did I look at a doctor and say, oh, the hot doctor.
Right.
You know, or look at the good-looking doctor. It was always like, this is the guy that's taking care of my
Right.
son.
He's so smart.
He's so smart.
Oh.
He found,
Right.
the male doctor was the one that found out what it was. He
Right.
ordered the scan, and I was just so thankful.
Right.
And never once did I think of his
Muscles.
attractiveness
Right,
or
right.
what, it was his brains. It was how good he was at his job.
Right.
And so I think that, I think we've kind of hit a turning point with this because this did not used to bother me. And I would have been the one that would be like, they're just giving a compliment. But I think we really have to be careful. And the other thing was for my daughter. You know, I don't want my daughter to think that that's your only
goal.
That's your
Be
only
pretty.
goal in life is to be pretty.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's all you bring to the table.
That's
so
all you
don't
bring
even
to the
bother
table.
being smart and
Right.
don't bother doing anything else. Just be pretty.
Right.
Stand there and look good.
Right. So I really just want to, it felt empowering to say something to this person because I felt like I felt like it needed to be said.
Yeah.
And I really felt like he got it.
Yeah.
And it was kind of eye-opening for him.
Yeah.
And so I think what I want to do is challenge, you know, all of the not just men, because
just
women
men. Sure.
are guilty of it too. We're guilty of it.
We do it a lot. Sure.
We do it a lot.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I think we all need to sort of watch our words.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because our words are powerful and what we put emphasis on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and it's not all about being pretty,
right?
You know, especially when we're talking about women.
Well, and I think, you know, what comes up for me as you're talking about this is that I had an interesting experience that butts right into this with my son recently, where shame on me, it was a family friend, and I was like, wow, like, she's gotten so grown up and pretty. Mm-hmm. And his response to me was, do you have any idea how smart she is? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yay, Troy, that you are blown away by a woman's smarts and their brain. And, you know, he really is that kid. Mm-hmm. His girlfriend is really smart, you know? And, you know, anybody that he's dated, it's like that's the category they fall in. They're going places. They really want to do something with their lives. They're very motivated. His girlfriend right now is a softball girl, and she's really smart, and her grades are exceptional. Mm-hmm. And by the way, she's beautiful. But like all those other things are so great, and that's what he, you know, has really talked about. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important what we role model, and I was even not role modeling the way that I would want to, you know what I mean? But I was blown away that he got that.
Yeah. Rachel makes a good point. I am so over being called hun, honey, sweetie, and babe by my customers who have never met me. Amen to that, Rachel. You know,
sorry, I probably called you honey, sweetie, and babe.
Yeah. But it is, I mean, it's so, I don't think people realize how demeaning it is, you know?
Well, I think it's also connotation, but yes. You know, maybe I'm being schooled right now, because I'm definitely to me it's verbally affectionate, but not with the opposite sex. Like that, like to you, I would be like, okay, sweetie. Yeah. Or in a restaurant, I might be like, thank you so much, hon, I'm so grateful. But I'm being verbally affectionate. Right. But also I'm recognizing, like, if that was a guy, I wouldn't be feeling that way. I would feel offended that I'm not your hun, not your wife, I'm not your girlfriend, you know, that kind of thing. So it is dicey, but I think that the big message that we're trying to say is, what are we valuing women for?
Right.
And teaching that to our children and teaching that to each other. What are we valuing? Is the only thing we're valuing how you look when you walk in the door?
Right.
Because that's a great bias, and that's what's preventing women from getting jobs if they're 10 pounds overweight, or if they can't afford the most beautiful dress or whatever, is that we've shown in some of these research things, people that are heavier are deemed not as smart. Why? Right. How could you ever determine weight versus smarts, you know? But we make all these assumptions. So I love what you're saying is like, hey, we need to really be conscious about what we're teaching our kids, what we're saying to each other, and how we're valuing each other and how we're talking to each other. It's powerful.
This also brings up something else for me, and I might upset some people with this, but I just think it needs to be said. And I think, you know, I want to hear what people have to say this and how you feel about this. Something that's been triggering me lately, and I know I overuse that word triggered.
Welcome to our therapy session.
But something that has really been bothering me lately has been these Instagram accounts and Facebook posts of people showing their weight loss journey.
Oh,
and the reason it bothers me is because I just feel like we're making it so important for you to be skinny, you know? And I understand the health aspects of it, and I think it's great to show that you're getting healthy, but do you really need to show yourself in a bikini showing that you're healthy? I mean, does that mean, like, now that you look good in a bikini, does that mean you're healthy?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
because
so
again,
it bothers
the
me.
Yeah.
I don't know why it bothers me, but it does. Haley says, good topic, Stan. I couldn't agree more. Lori says, wow, this has hit a nerve with me with all my body changes from my health issues. As you both know, it's a big struggle. It's as if we aren't good enough or all have to offer is our looks. As much as I try to teach my daughter looks is not what it's all about, I need to teach myself that also.
Wow, so you, yes,
I'm gonna cry, Lori.
I know.
Yeah,
yeah,
because You know, I feel like we've normalized a lot of things. You know, we've normalized for so long, and we women, when we hear our husbands say, oh, the pretty person, and we don't say anything, we're normalizing it. We're making it okay. So I think you have to call out the people in your life that you feel are perpetuating this.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's important to call out the people. The Instagram posts of you showing your before post and then your after of you in a bikini looking hot, whereas before you weren't looking hot, that bothers me.
Well, because and I don't know, you know, this discussion could go on for days, because I don't know if the answer is to not celebrate that you're proud of yourself.
Right.
But I think the answer is, like, how do we have mentors? Like, I'll be straight up honest. My person that I worship is Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, I love her.
Love her. Because she is so brilliant.
Right.
Her wit is so sharp. She transforms herself. She has a kind heart. And I loved when I read an article that she does not curse at all.
Really?
No. As a mom, as a woman, it's not her thing. What?
Oh.
And yet she's able to transform herself and really be an actress in every sense of the word, and embrace her weight, and she's gorgeous. I think she's a gorgeous human. So it's really about what you're frustrated with is, why do we keep leading with our bodies? Why do we keep leading with, do you think I'm pretty?
Right.
Instead of, for the person, you know, like what Lori was just saying, for the person who's an A and is rocking her, you know, Friday night out and confident and feeling stunning and beautiful as a woman, even though she's not a C or a D cup, that she's just walking in like she owns the place.
Or a size 0.
Or a size 0 or a size 12. And I think that's, I know as a therapist, what I'm always working with women on is loving yourself and confidence, and that I have never seen anything sexier than confidence.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to wear when we walk into a room, is a love of ourselves and a belief that we are proud of who we are. And then if you're also proud that you lost a few pounds, great. But what you're frustrated with is, why are you posting on Instagram this, but yet we didn't see that you got your master's yesterday. Right. We didn't see that you negotiated a car, you know, like by yourself, and you like outwitted the guy. Like, we're not seeing the things you're smart about, the things you're kind about, that you gave a homeless guy $100 out of the goodness of your heart. We're not posting about that.
Right.
We're posting in a bikini. And so I think it's like, I always look at these situations and say, it's about balance.
Yes.
It's okay to celebrate that you've lost some weight. We're happy for you too. But are you also celebrating and showing the world that you just completed a class and you did well, and that you were kind and you made a difference in someone's life today? Because those are the things we all know as we get older. Those are the things we feel confident about.
Or that you're having these conversations with your daughter, kids, Lori. You know, that you're having these important conversations with them. I mean, I think those are things to be celebrated.
Yes.
Diane says, "Guess I'm guilty," because I always say "sweetie" or "honey"
Me too.
to other people that are kids, ages 40s or younger. Am I being rude? It's just endearing to me.
I think you have to read the audience too.
Yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing, and you know, I used to wait tables when I was in Gainesville at University of Florida. I waited tables all throughout college, and it always gave me an uneasy feeling when someone used to call me by saying, "Sweetie, honey," you know, and it just didn't sit right with me, you know, because you can say "excuse me," or, you know, my name is clearly on my badge, Suzanne. You could always call me by my name. So yeah, it just didn't always feel right to me, Diane. But you know what? It's a different age. I mean, I think we're becoming more aware. You know, there's a Jamila Jamil, who is an actress. She's in the new Netflix show, A Good Place, I think it's called.
The Good Place, yeah.
The Good Place.
Yes.
And she has started this Instagram account. It's called I Weigh. And she only posts things on there, and she wants you to tell the world how much you weigh. Not in pounds, but people are writing like, you know, I'm a mother, I'm a sister, I'm good at my job, I'm talented, I can sing, you know, these kind of things. And that's what their weight is. You know, I'm a good friend. And so what she's asking people to do is tell them how much you weigh, based on who you are and what you're all about, not how much you actually weigh. And it's a really great account. So if you have a chance to go and take a look at it, it's really opened my eyes, I think, because you really start to see how your words and how what you're posting on social media really does have some impact. Yeah.
Well, and I think I love what the I way. That's amazing. But what I was going to say to Diane is, one of the things I do when I go to a restaurant, because I was raised in restaurants, my parents were restaurateurs and they owned their own catering company when I was a kid. And so I'll, they come up, hi, what would you like? Water with lemon, water with lemon. And they'll say, let me tell you the specials. And as soon as they're done, I say, what is your name? Oh, my name's Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much. I'm establishing right off the bat, I see you as a human. Like, you're not waiting on me. Like, you have a name. You're a person. You bring something to the table. Like literally, not just, you're physically, not just literally. So I noticed that makes an impact. So that then later, if I'm like, thank you so much, sweetie, they're not offended because they've already been acknowledged as a person who matters. Yeah. So I think it's all about balance. And that somebody's not just, hey, hon, or that you're acknowledging who they are or their name or reading their tag. And or I'll always say, if they have a tag, I'll go, thank you, Suzanne. I really appreciate it. Yeah. And I really want them to feel like you're not just serving me or waiting on me. I really appreciate you as a human being. Yeah. So I think it's a matter of that. I think a lot of us are just, gosh, you're going to the South and everything is, okay, honey, okay, bunny, sweetie pie. So I think that there's cultural pieces, but also I read the person too. Yes. If I say something and their face changes, then I know that that's not comfortable. Okay. And I think we need to be aware of that. Yes. And maybe even apologize and say, oh, I didn't mean anything by that. And they might say, oh, that's fine. Or, my name's Suzanne. Right. So I think that we need to be in tune to it.
Right. Rachel says, the Barbie syndrome needs to end. Women, I just did something, didn't mean to do that. Women are more than looks. We're brilliant, smart, self-confident, and Wonder Women. That's true. We multitask and no one notices that we are judged by our looks. That's true. I mean, a lot of women are, but I think women are just as guilty as men of doing this.
Well, so this leads into the next piece of this, which I was doing a lot in my office this week, is what do you lead with? Yeah. What are you leading with? Yeah. Because I think when we're young, we can throw on a pair of short shorts and a tank top and we get lots of attention and we're okay with that. And then we're mad because now you're coming on to us physically and we don't want that, but we kind of led with that. Right. So I remember my mom teaching me, what are you leading with? Are you leading with your brain? Because then you're going to get somebody who's interested in your brain. But if you're leading with your chest, you might get somebody who's just interested in your chest. And, we can't blame everybody. People are visual, especially men are visual. So it's all of us, right? What are we as women expecting? Yes. Are we demanding respect? Are we leading with our brain? Are we leading with our heart? Are we leading with intellect? Are we leading with our talents? Are we leading with our talents, or are we leading with the other word?
With our tits. You can say it. You can say it on Facebook. Diane says, love you, sweetie, LOL.
Can't help it.
So Diane is from Monticello. She's one of her son, Tommy and I went to high school together.
Oh, I love it.
We're in school together.
We love you too, sweetie.
We love you. Love you, Diane. I really think it's, I'm not asking you to change. I just think to be aware. Be aware of the things that are coming out of your mouth. Be more aware of, how the men and the women in your life are complimenting others. And if it just hit a nerve with me and I felt like I needed to say something. So I think when you see something, make people aware, help people be aware, because a lot of people, it is cultural and they've been doing it their whole lives and they don't know any different. And so when you say, hey, it's not okay to just compliment someone for their beauty. If that's your only compliment, then maybe there's an issue there.
Absolutely. And then as soon as we do this, every man in America is going to write it and go, my wife gets so angry if I don't tell her she's pretty and if I look good in this outfit. So again, I keep going back to balance because I don't want to not, it's not that we don't want to acknowledge that, but it has to be a piece. Yes. it's one piece of who I am.
Yeah.
So thank you for acknowledging that. Do you want to acknowledge the other 25 pieces?
Right.
Right. Rachel says she corrects people with calling her sweetie, and what it's recognizing, it's helping me recognize is that maybe, like, even for me being a very verbally affectionate person, I get away with calling my, people that are close in my life those kinds of things. But when you're out in a professional setting, that's an awareness for me. Like in a restaurant or whatever, they're not my sweetie. I just met them. And so you
I'm
say
your
that,
sweetie.
Yeah,
You can call me sweetie.
Right.
Yes.
She's my sweetie.
Right.
But that's really, thank you. That's really good education for me, is like, you know what? We've maybe gotten a little sloppy. We're so casual with people, like as if you know me.
Right.
You don't know me. I've been waiting on your table for 30 seconds.
Right.
So that person you only call by their name, right? And then your close, affectionate people, if they're comfortable, then you can call them those things. But that's a really good point. Thank you for the awareness.
Yes.
I've been schooled.
I think we all have been schooled. All right, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, we're on podcast. What Your Friends Won't Tell You, just search it up. We're on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And we're also on Facebook, where else? Instagram, Twitter. We're everywhere.
Yes.
We're pretty much everywhere. And we are going to try to keep this up and not go dark on you for a couple of weeks like we have the past couple of weeks. We really apologize. Life just got in the way.
Yeah, kids definitely come first. So.
Yes, always.
Yes.
And if you have any show topics, anything you want us to talk about, anything that's triggering you in your life, like what I was triggered about, or if there's anything that you're struggling with or some kind of challenge in your life, let us help you. Let us talk about it. Shannon has some really, really great tools to be able to help with all different kinds of issues.
Likewise.
Because we all have issues.
Suzanne schooled us today, which I'm loving.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.